Some of this has quite a few miles on it.
312,000.
No. Can I see where it says 312? 312,000 miles. That is just insane. Guys, what is up? Welcome to Skrrt Garage. My name is Connor. I am stoked to have you on the channel today. What I'm going to be doing is a complete exhaust comparison, standing start, and 40 roll drag race with a 2002 Porsche Turbo Cabriolet. But this isn't any Porsche Turbo Cabriolet. This thing has 312,000 miles. Now, normally when I pair up a drag race, I like to do one of two things. I like to pair up cars that a potential buyer would cross shop so he can have a good idea of what he's going to be getting into if he picks one over the other on a performance basis. Number two is I also just like to pair up cars that are similar in specs, so horsepower, torque, weight, stuff like that. Now that makes this video a little bit different because on paper these just don't really make sense to go up against one another. This is 10 years newer and makes more horsepower. However, this 2002 Porsche Turbo has been heavily modified multiple times in its life, and the thing has 300,000 miles on it. To put that into perspective, that Porsche Turbo has driven from Earth to the moon. And then after it has done that, this Porsche Turbo has driven from the sunny beaches of California to Hong Kong across the Pacific Ocean and back 5 times. It has done all of that and somehow is still here ready to take on my F-Type R. Now, this video interests me because this turbo is not stock like I mentioned. It has the upgraded K24 turbos. They call that the X50 option for you Porsche enthusiasts. It also has a severe working over from BBI Automotive. They have installed a GT3 flywheel, larger throttle bodies, a aftermarket intake plenum, and plenum is just fancy talk for getting air funneled to where the intake is. It also has a massive intake on it with a breather the size of 2 of my heads. And after those upgrades, it also received custom tuning software. Now the owner of this car doesn't know exactly how much, but it's estimated between 500 and 600 wheel horsepower. So when you look at the stats, it's starting to become a little bit closer horsepower wise. But for me guys, I'm just curious to see how a 300,000 mile Porsche Turbo would do against anything. That's so impressive to me that this thing is still running strong. Because let's face it, it's not exactly a Honda Accord, right? So guys, we're gonna get started with these drag race and exhaust comparisons, but if you are stopping by for the first time, please consider subscribing, giving this video a big old thumbs up, and hitting the notification bell. That way you are alerted each and every time I make a new video. And I highly recommend you guys stick around after the races because we're going to talk with the owner to see exactly how much it's cost him to keep this Porsche Turbo on the road after 300,000 miles and a lot of upgrades. So guys, let's get started with this video. This thing, my dad told me this has quite a few miles on it.
312,000.
No. Can I see where it says 312? I have to put that on camera. That's crazy. With 300, let's see if I can get a good view. 312,000 miles, that is just insane.
I got is starting from a rolling start.
Whenever you go. Guys, what did you think? I have a few thoughts before I get on to the interview with the owner of the car. That way he can explain a little bit more about it. And my first commentary is this. When we took off on that first rolling race, we were neck and neck with each other, and I wasn't a car length ahead of him until my F-Type R was switching into 5th gear. Guys, that's well over 130 miles an hour before I was able to pass him. That is wildly impressive for something that's done literally 15 times more than this car has done on a mile perspective. Not only that, but I did notice something. After the first race, it did seem like I was able to pass him a lot easier. And I have a hunch. My hunch is this: when he was over here, he lifted up his rear hatch so I could see the engine. And I'm gonna play this clip for you. All right. So, do you hear how that thing's kind of like rattling around like a fan shroud is broken off? Not only that, but the breather inside of there, the air filter, looks totally black. I have a hunch that this thing might have heat soaked after the first or second race that we did together, and that's probably why I was able to pass it so easily after the first couple races. My second thought is, I thought this car was gonna launch off of the line, but it really kind of didn't. It was actually slow getting off the line. And for my 996 whizzes out there, why is that? How come this 996 turbo all-wheel drive doesn't scoot off the line? Let me know in the comments down below if you can. Anyway, I'm gonna pass you over to David, the owner now. He has a myriad of cars. He's got one valued over $500,000, yet he chooses to drive this turbo every single day. I think that's really pretty cool. So we're gonna hand it over to him right now.
Well, that was great, except for the losing part.
Yeah. Okay, so the first shop you took it to was BBI?
BBI Automotive. They put on the GT3 flywheel, the intake plenum, and the throttle body.
Okay.
And did an initial rebuild when I bought it.
So rebuild as in?
Well, rebuild in as they didn't rebuild the engine. They took it out, replaced all of the plastic.
Okay.
These have a problem with the water pump, with the glue holding the hoses. There's 7 hoses in the water pump, and they're glued in and they fall out. And so that happened right away, and I took it to them, and they went through and replaced everything that might break.
Okay.
And then
so how many miles have you put on the car?
I've put on right at 200,000 miles. 200,000.
So you bought it with 100. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask how much you've spent making this thing what it is, and keeping it running?
Oh, not a lot, surprisingly. I think I spent initially about $12,000 at BBI.
Okay.
And then I spent about the same amount when a couple years ago when I had the engine rebuilt.
Okay.
And so the other things are cosmetically. I had it painted 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Next thing is leather for the interior, and I replaced the top when I bought the car too. And so it's been a great car, and it's almost a daily driver. I have a couple other vehicles, but I put 20,000 miles a year on this.
20,000 a year. That's awesome. So how long have you had it?
I bought it 9 years ago.
9 years.
Yeah.
Any more plans for it? Are you gonna try to trick it out some more, or?
I've been thinking for the last few years about getting a new one.
Okay.
Because as you saw in the race, you can modify these old ones, but the new ones are so quick.
Oh, they're
the standard
crazy
that
fast.
you can barely modify a new one to keep an old one to keep up with the new one.
Right. Anyways, that's gonna do it for us at Skrrt Garage. My name is Connor. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys. Be safe and have a great day. See ya.